Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel, and it's time for another hard rock and heavy metal update. I really haven't bought too much in the last couple weeks. Actually, I don't think I've gone. I think I've gone to one record store and didn't buy anything. Just haven't really had the money to go digging. There's been a couple things I ordered online here and there, but most of this stuff I've actually had for quite a while. Actually, all but a few of these I've had since before my last metal update. I just hadn't gotten around to listening to them yet, so I didn't share them. So this will be a relatively short one. Every time I say that, it goes longer, so, you know, we'll see what happens. First in the background, we're listening to Meltdown 98 live from Judas Priest. This is Ripper Owens era Judas Priest double live. I think it's a really killer live album, and the reason I'm listening to it is John, SMF Captain Howdy, and I have been talking about this album over the last couple of days. A little bit last night, a little bit today. And I just felt like throwing it in, so enjoy. So let's just kind of jump into this. Start off with a little bit of Blackfoot. This is Siogo. I believe that's the way you say it. I'm not 100% sure. A couple people had mentioned, recommended me picking this up, and they thought that this was their best album. It's a good album. This is from 1983. I prefer their Animal albums from the 70s. Still a good album, though. Still worth checking out if you're a fan of Blackfoot. There are some really killer songs on here, and I do like it as a whole. I just like their output from the 70s a little bit better. And then back to the 70s, we've got a little bit of Foghat, Night Shift. I picked this up a while ago. I've heard it dozens of times. I just finally got around to listening to it. But killer album beginning to end. I really like this one. Not really a bad song on this one in my opinion. This is from 76. So kind of their best period in my opinion. This next one's a killer album. I had never heard of this band. I just ran across this album. Was very interested in the covers, caught my eye, and then I looked it up on Discogs and saw it was 70s hard rock / glam, and had to buy it. This is Thunder Train from Teenage Suicide from the band Thunder Train. Highly recommend this. This is a Boston band. I'm not sure why they didn't get big. Multiple members went on to play in other bands. Mock Bell, the vocalist, went on to do vocals for the Joe Perry Project. Beginning to end, this is a killer glam album that I would highly recommend picking up. Like I said, I had never seen it before, never heard of it, but and it just turned out to be a really good album. I've listened to this 3 or 4 times. I'll probably give it a few more spins before it goes into the main collection over there, but just killer glam. Next up, a little bit of DLR, Skyscraper. This one I remember very fondly. When this first came out, this was 88. I was still in Germany with my dad and my stepmom. And for Christmas in '88, my stepmom got my dad his first CD player, which in '88 they were still pretty expensive, if you remember. And he was very excited about it. The downside was she bought it from the Base Exchange, which is the store on the Air Force Base, and they only had 2 CDs available at that time. And those CDs were Skyscraper from David Lee Roth and Bad from Michael Jackson. So she ended up buying both of them for my dad. Not being a huge Michael Jackson fan, we ended up listening to this album quite a bit until he ended up ordering a few more CDs from stateside, but which back then took forever. You know, there was no internet, obviously, at least not available to the general public for the most part. But I really like this album. I've got fond memories from that time listening to it with my dad, and I just think it's a great album, beginning to end in general. Next up, we'll save those for last. This is one I just kind of happened across at one of the local stores about 2 months ago. And then it was sitting in my inbox and I totally forgot about it. But killer album. This is Morning Rise. Yeah, Morning Rise from Opeth. This is their second album. I hear a lot of people, I've heard a lot of people complain about their progressive sound and wishing that they still had the death metal sound from their first few albums. This album's still very progressive, so I'm not sure what people's issue is. I mean, granted, he doesn't use the death growls in his last album and not so much in his last few, but it's very similar to the newer output, in my opinion. It's a great album any way you look at it, but and this one came on gray and white vinyl. This was a recent repress. I want to say it was a 2013 Back on Black repress. I've had mixed experiences with Back on Black. As of late, though, the last few Black on Black albums I've gotten have been really good. So no complaints at the moment. I picked up a couple of Anthrax albums that were really hollow sounding, and I've heard bad things about the Kiss Alive repress that they did a few years ago. But this is one I'd recommend picking up. It's still relatively cheap. Next up, I got in the mood about a month and a half ago, and ordered these mainly because they were the two missing from the collection. But this first one's one that I put off. No real reason behind it. I just put off ordering it, and I'm glad I finally picked up a copy of it. This is 5, the Gray Chapter from Slipknot. Slipknot is probably the only of the new metal bands that I still listen to. I've talked about Korn. I still like Korn's first and third album, but after their fourth album, I completely lost interest. I wouldn't buy anything after that. And there were really only a few new metal bands I really got into. Korn. Slipknot, I didn't get into until later. I bought their first album within the first week of it coming out, just based on the hype behind it, and didn't end up liking it. And my biggest turnoff from that album was the DJ. Other than that, I mean, I really liked the music itself, but I mean, it was the DJ that just kind of killed it for me. But I ended up over time beginning to really like them, and like I said, now they're one of the few new metal bands that I listen to at this point in my life. But this is a killer album. I really liked the beginning to end. A lot of emotion behind it, obviously. This is the first album without Paul Gray, who it's named after. Paul Gray and his death are the subject of a number of verses, a few songs on this album. And you definitely hear the emotion coming from Corey Taylor. Just a great album. And then they also, when I ordered that, this was on sale too. This is All Hope Is Gone. This is their last album from 2008, I believe. Yeah. And just another solid album from Slipknot. This is probably my least favorite from the band, but that's not saying much because I do like everything that they put out. So next up, this one was really cool. This is the Needle in the Groove pre-album release from Mama's Boys. It is a stamp promo. And what I really thought was cool about this, I mean, I would have grabbed it regardless just because it's Mama's Boys and I am a fan of the band, was this paperwork that was in with the... There's a survey from Arista Records in here. Here's the letter, and then here's the self-addressed envelope to send back. But it's we'd Arista Records are appreciative about your responding to the information search included in your copy of the recent Crocus album, The Blitz. Since you obviously care about music, we have taken the opportunity to send you the enclosed record, Needle in the Groove. It's the current record from Mama's Boy, an exciting three-man group from Ireland. We would appreciate you answer a few questions about Mama's Boy, so here they are. How do you rate the song? Have you heard of Mama's Boy prior to receiving the record? If so, how did you hear about the group? Would you buy Mama's Boy's new album based on hearing Needle in the Groove? Assuming you like Needle in the Groove, would you call your local radio station and ask them to play Mama's Boy? Thank you for your time. The Power and the Passion album will be in your local record store April 22nd. We hope to see you there. So I thought that was pretty cool. So they basically got this album for free for filling out an information form that came with the Crocus album. So it was just a piece that I thought was really cool. And it was $5. It was in the album in the sleeve were in near mint condition. So I mean, like I said, I would have grabbed them anyway. Plus they're a promo. But I just thought that letter was awesome. I've never seen anything like that before. With the envelope and everything in there. So I just thought that was really cool. Before I do show the last couple, I want to share these. I got to thank Will, whose YouTube screen name is The Vinyl Potato. I won his contest a few weeks ago and got the prize. It was a number of singles, both CD and vinyl. So I want to show the two hard rock ones, and then I'll show the rest of them as part of just a miscellaneous update as opposed to in the hard rock and heavy metal. The first was the Rocker Bust pre-release 7-inch. I haven't opened this and listened to it yet, but I may not, because both of these songs are on the album, which I have. But this has Rocker Bust and Play Ball, which are both killer songs. So this by itself was really cool. And then it also came with this Swedish Kiss single from Psycho Circus. It's got the radio edit of Psycho Circus, the LP version, a collector's version of Raise Your Glasses, I don't know what that means, and then the dance remix of I Was Made for Loving You. So that was very cool too, so thank you very much, Will. I really appreciate you sending it. Yours is actually the second contest I've won. The first contest I never received a prize for, and I never received any response from the person who did the contest. I'm not going to give his name, but he's not very active in the VC at this point anymore anyway. I think he's done maybe 1 or 2 videos in the last year. But thanks for sending that. I really do appreciate that. A couple of other, actually I did have one recent pickup. I bought this one of these yesterday. Share these real quick. A couple of CDs that I recently picked up. This one blew me away that I found this. I need to get a new case for it, but this is very hard to find. It's pretty expensive when you run across it. This is bootlegs from Dirty Looks. Really killer album. It's on Shrapnel. But even the CD, you know, 15 to 25 bucks, as you can see. It's got the little sticker. I picked this up at a Goodwill for, what is it, $2 that they charge for CDs, something like that. I was completely blown away. And then I searched through it. They probably had 1,000 CDs, and I searched through every one hoping to find something else. And there was no other metal in there at all, just this one. Which, I mean, it's a gem by itself. But this one I just picked up from Rox Records. If you're not familiar with Rox Records, that's Scott Waters' band Ultimatum's label. Bill Rox has another website called Christian Metal Distribution, and you know, on the Rox page, it's just his bands that are signed to his label, or bands or albums that he's put out under Rox Records. And then on the Christian Metal Distribution, it's a distribution, so there's all kind of metal on there from various labels. But one that he just posted up, and they're real limited, so if you're interested in this, go get it right away. He only had a few copies, but this is Signs of the End from Demolished. This is a 7-song EP from, I think, 2005, 2004, 2005. The band's pretty much vanished since then. They did a 4-song EP before this came out. This is killer thrash. Touches on Christianity, touches on politics. Just a killer album. Highly recommended. Just Brazilian thrash at its best. I love this album. That's been listened to pretty much non-stop since I bought it. Then I also picked this up. I picked this up about 2 months ago. I have never been more disappointed by an album than I was by this. This is so bad. I paid $10 for it, and I feel like I got ripped off. So I feel bad for people that are paying $60+ for the box set, which is like a 4 LP box set for the vinyl version. It's like $65 to $85 depending on where you buy it from. It's absolute garbage. Dave's not really singing on here, and when he does sing, his voice just is not where it used to be. That's not what really makes it bad, though. That's bad enough. Eddie sounds terrible on here. His solos don't match the music at all. It's almost like watching Marty McFly when he does, what's the song he does? Johnny Be Good. When he does Johnny Be Good in the 50s and his solo just goes crazy. He's doing like an 80s metal solo over a 50s rock and roll song, and everybody's just, what the hell, thinking, what the hell is this guy doing? That's kind of how this feels. He goes into these solos that don't match the music at all. I couldn't even listen to the second disc. I listened to disc 1, I put it back in here and haven't listened to it since. I mean, it's that bad. Highly recommend you avoid this at all costs. And then the last thing I picked up, I haven't even checked this out yet. This is very cool. I may do a video just on this one, but this is Doomsday for the Deceiver. This is the box set for Metal Blade. They've been doing box sets for a bunch of 20th anniversary box sets. They've done 5 or 6 bands that I know of. Actually, I bought Scott one for Fate's Warning about a year ago, maybe. But this one, disc 1, is Doomsday for the Deceiver, and it comes with Iron Tears and I Live, You Die demos. And then disc 2 is Doomsday the Deceiver. It's remixed and remastered. And that one's got 4 bonuses, and that's basically their Metal Shock EP. Disc 3 is a DVD that's got interviews, live performance from 83 and 84, a live performance from 85. And it's got like 4 different live performances on the DVD. So I really look forward to checking this one out. I love Doomsday and the Deceiver. That's a DVD. Flotsam and Jetsam, just a killer band. You know what? I may do a box set video on this after I check it out. But let's show the last 3, speaking of box sets, and then we'll call it a day. So Back on Black has just put out a recent run of collections. I don't want to call them box sets because they don't come in boxes. But they've done a number of collections. You can buy them on eBay. I actually bought this one on a website that Aaron turned me on to. Ernie B's, I think, something like that. This is the Dark Angel set they put together. It comes with Leave Scars. Excuse me. Yeah, Leave Scars. Time Does Not Heal. And then Live Scars. And I paid $32 or $33 for this. With shipping, it was like $37. So you're talking $12.50 per album for 3 just amazing thrash albums. From one of the most underrated metal bands of the 80s, in my opinion. I love Dark Angel. Gene Hoglan, the drummer, is, I think, one of the most amazing drummers ever. I think he is the best metal drummer out there. A lot of people would argue Dave Lombardo. I'm a huge Dave Lombardo fan. He was my favorite until I was introduced to Gene Hoglan. He's just amazing. And he's been in so many bands and he's probably recorded with 20 different bands that he didn't even tour with. They just brought him into the studio. He's just that amazing. Highly recommend picking that up. The two studio albums are on clear red vinyl. The live album is on black vinyl. They've also got a Saxon collection, which is 3 albums. They have a Crocus album, collection, which I just ordered. That's a 5 album collection for 30-something bucks, and it's 3 of them are what I consider Crocus's best albums. So I'm really looking forward to that one, and I believe those are all on different colored vinyl as well. They've also done a Twisted Sister one that has 2 studio albums, 2 live albums. And there's one more that's escaping me. But check them out on Amazon. Look around. I wouldn't necessarily buy them from Amazon. The Dark Angel one, that collection was $56 or something like that on Amazon. Like I said, I got it for like $37 shipped from a different website. So same thing. I think the Twisted Sister and the Saxon are both like 60 bucks. I bet if you do some searching, you can find them for cheaper. So, but highly recommend. They sound amazing. So as I mentioned earlier, I knew I would get rambling and it wouldn't end up being a short video. But there you go. Leave your comments below. Tell me what you think. Take care, VC. I hope all's well.